The spring 2021 semester was not looking good. I didn't want to go back to campus, but I didn't want to just stay home sitting in my room all day either. One of my friends casually mentioned a road trip, and I latched onto the idea. After all, if I'm doing classes remotely, I can do them remotely from anywhere. So, I packed the necessary supplies into my trusty Honda Fit, planned for being on the road for about a month, and off I went. I started my trip in Pennsylvania, then drove through Maryland, Virginia, and Kentucky. My first big destination was Nashville, Tennessee. Lots of loud live music and cowboy hats. There also happens to be a full-sized replica of the Parthenon there. Then I drove through Alabama to visit my aunt in Florida. Then back through Alabama and Mississippi to Louisiana and New Orleans. I met some crazy people there. I saw a man doing the human statue thing. A guy named Fox tried to sell me drugs. The street musicians in New Orleans were better than the ones in Nashville, though. After Louisiana was Texas. A couple minutes after crossing the border, a Ford F-150 slammed into the back of my car and pushed me into the car in front of me. My whole trip screeched to a halt. That was on a Saturday. I was stuck in Orange, Texas until Monday when the car rental place opened. It was a stressful couple of days. I did workouts in my hotel room to keep myself occupied. I was on the phone for hours with the insurance and with my mother. She wanted me to come home. On Monday, the tow truck guy drove me to the car rental place and then talked me into continuing my trip. He said I'd regret it for the rest of my life if I went back. He was right. I got into my shiny new minivan and started driving west. It was the greatest feeling ever. Texas is a huge state, and I spent several more days there. I went to Houston and San Antonio. The Riverwalk there was nice, but outside of it, the city was like a ghost town. Except for the occasional homeless guy on acid asking me about what it all means. I cut northwest towards Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was a very artsy city, but Planet Fitness showers were closed throughout the entire state, which irritated me greatly. And nobody in New Mexico is a good driver. Definitely my least favorite state. Then came Arizona. I went to the Petrified Forest, the first of many national parks I'd see. The Grand Canyon was stunning. Words can't describe it, you've just got to visit it yourself. After Arizona was California. San Diego is an awesome place. The people are nice and the weather is perfect. Los Angeles is not so awesome. I met up with an old friend there though, which was nice. She drove me through Skid Row and past the notorious Hotel Cecil. The traffic is unspeakably awful. I do not recommend. It was cool seeing the Hollywood sign though. My rental was about to expire, so I bought a car a little bit north of Los Angeles. I visited several national parks in California. Joshua Tree, Sequoia, Death Valley. All of them were awesome in their own way. Then I met my brother and his girlfriend in Las Vegas. It's a degenerate place, but it was kind of fun. The surrounding landscape is awesome too. I hopped around various national parks in southern Utah. The junction of Utah, Nevada, and Arizona is probably the most beautiful place in the country. I visited an old friend in Wyoming. There's like 5 people in the entire state. It was awesome. I made a brief stop in Colorado to freeze my ass off in the gorgeous Rocky Mountain National Park. Sadly, I didn't see any bears. I drove through Nebraska to get to South Dakota. A couple national parks, Mount Rushmore, Laura Ingalls Wilder's historic home, grass, bison, a creepy stalker guy. It hurt seeing the landscapes of the West get smaller and smaller in my rearview mirror. The closer I got to home, the more I dawdled. I drove through Minnesota and Wisconsin. There's really not much to say about those states. In Michigan, I stayed with my aunt for a day. Then I went to the Henry Ford Museum, which was awesome. It was basically the story of the Industrial Revolution, and there was even an exhibit on car camping, which was rather relevant. I spent way too much time in Michigan and Ohio. Really, I was just stalling for time before I got home. In West Virginia, I started to get into the Appalachian Mountain area. It was so refreshing to see mountains again. And Virginia is probably the most beautiful state on the East Coast. I went to one last national park there, Shenandoah. Then I visited my grandparents for a couple days and went home. 56 days, 24 states, 15 national parks. This country is an amazing place. There is so much to see, and so much that I didn't see. My grandma asked if this trip satisfied my thirst for adventure. I said, no, this is just the beginning.